What if the version of masculinity trending online isn't strength, but a distortion of it? Because right now, men are being pulled in different directions. One voice says be dominant, be powerful, take control, win at all costs, don't show weakness. And that resonates because men are wired to lead, to build, and to take responsibility. But that message doesn't always lead where it promises. Instead of producing strong, grounded men, it can create pride, isolation, and a constant need to prove yourself. And that's where the confusion sets in. Because the issue isn't masculinity, it's what happens when strength is disconnected from purpose, humility, and service. The Manosphere taps into something real, but often points men in the wrong direction. It takes good traits and slowly twists them into something self-serving. So today we're not here to reject masculinity, we're here to define it properly, to strip back the distortion and rebuild a standard that actually holds up. So let's get to work.
One Rep Max exists because men were not created to be passive, silent, or soft. We believe masculinity is disciplined, responsible, sacrificial. It's the willingness to carry the load when no one else wants to. Dig the trenches even though you're dead tired. Protect and provide for the ones that you love. We reject comfort as a goal and weakness as virtue. We believe men are called to lead their homes, master themselves, tell the truth and carry weight. This podcast is not for spectators, it's for men willing to train spiritually, physically, and morally until strength becomes instant. When pressure hits, when you're down and out, when you can't do it anymore, who you are shows up. This is your One Rep Max. Welcome back to the One Rep Max podcast, guys. We're up to episode 8. I'm pretty sure, I can't believe that's 8 episodes already. And I know we keep saying yesterday. I know we keep saying, oh man, we're up to these many episodes, but every time I'm just surprised that we don't stop coming up with things to talk about. I think that's what I'm most surprised about.
Yeah.
And I know it's early days, but it just keeps there's always seems to be something.
Yeah. I think, cool. I think we got a very conceptual niche, and it's very high level, and that there's just a need out there for men to hear this, and it's not bound by time. It's something that we've been dealing with our whole lives, and men have been dealing with their whole lives, and it's something that's broad and universal to all men, I think. So I think we definitely hit on very similar themes from episode to episode. Like you can see the same scriptures, like Romans 12, do not be conformed to the patterns of the world, but be transformed to the renewing of your mind. That pops up all the time for us. That's a big one for us. Daily habits, daily reps, discipline, leading yourself. Those types of, there's a common themes there, but again, those connect to so many different areas. And when I look at things now, when I watch things, which is what we're going to talk about today, how we watched something on Netflix and we look at it through that lens, it just sparks an interest and sparks a conversation.
Yeah, for sure. I was thinking about this maybe last week or something, but I never thought when growing up there was ever going to be a need to have these types of conversations on a public platform.
Yeah.
Because, my memories of the men that I grew up with was there was a sense of community. Obviously they'd work hard and they would go and work really long hours, but on the weekends there'd be time for them to come together, whether it was cooking a hangi for church or for an event, or just getting together, having a party, whatever. There was always seemed to be that community aspect or that village mentality where a lot of the men would sit down and just chat and shoot the breeze. And I feel like that's pretty much what this is just us getting an opportunity to sit down and talk about things that we feel like matter and things that we feel like are relevant and maybe needed to be spoken about from our perspective. Because I think we have a unique view on things, because we all do. Everyone has their own view, and unique perspective, but I think what works is just we have a great way of being able to comfortably communicate it together. And you spoke about, what we had both watched, and I think you got to be living under a rock if you haven't seen it on Netflix, which is the Manosphere.
Yes.
So we thought that, we were looking at our first episode, and what was that? What was the title of that one?
The Lie We've Been Sold.
The Lie We've Been Sold, which kind of was touched on that.
Yeah.
Like the toxic masculinity and all that sort of stuff. And then shortly after, we both watched the Manosphere and thought, you know what, maybe we should revisit that topic from a slightly different angle and have a bit of a different perspective to some of the extreme views on that show.
Yeah, and I think we did touch a bit of it on our first episode, but our focus was mainly on man not being passive and man taking a step forward. And my fear was when we were saying that was that we'd be kind of grouped in, a blanket just thrown over all they're just toxic or whatever. They just want men to be aggressive, but there's two extremes, right? And it's really somewhere in the middle that is, as usual, the point where you want to hit, but people are people of extremes, if one extreme doesn't work, they'll switch to the next extreme, and it compounds because of social media, and the prevalence of it, and it being more these days about the media and about the likes and about the views rather than about the social aspect of it. That compounds it because what's more controversial gets more views and gets you more famous and brings in more money. So the more extreme controversial views are being uplifted and being celebrated by the system that's built to lift those more extreme views up, and the more extreme videos that happen and the more extreme opinions that people have, they get celebrated, they get put in the limelight more because more people are drawn to that, people watch that.
Yeah, well, it's we live in a time where attention is a currency, right? So like you're saying, the more attention we get, you can, some people monetize that. And the quickest and easiest way is to say some outlandish things that go against the norms. I think I'll touch on, you did say you had this fear about falling under the same sort of blanket as some of these other toxic. And
that's because there are similarities.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we were talking before that we do fall under that umbrella of the Manosphere. I think that documentary was by Louis Theroux. He's really, really decent documentary maker.
Yeah, he's good.
But yeah, one thing I sort of had a reflection on is that we fall under that umbrella, but there's like you said, there's an extremist view, there's somewhere in the middle, and there's more of a passive view. I think we sort of but I think we naturally fit somewhere in the middle because in today's society, some might say that a Christian's point of view is kind of a bit more extreme. We don't think that, but that's because we understand our relationship in Christ, and we understand where we fit in our ideology. But I think what's happened with this major swing to the toxic side of things is it's like a rebuttal to the need for society to make men soft, make men a bit more, what's the word, not masculine, but more feminine. Yeah. I had that in my head I couldn't say it. But yeah, so trying to feminize masculinity. And we see that with, if you can kind of attach toxic masculinity and the toxic view of the guys on the Manosphere who are have really extremist views to one way, and this overly feminized view of what society has wanted men to be, to two different political parties too, from left wing to right wing. It's right wing is that real like Andrew Tate red pill stuff. Left wing is like the feminized masculinity. Masculinity is bad.
Yeah.
Whereas like I think we need to meet in the middle somewhere, because to be a real man, it takes a balance of both. We can't just be all the way one side and all the way the other. So what's happened is, you know, in my opinion, is we've just gone from going all the way to the left. Now we're just like some guys are taking it to the extreme on the right side. We just need to meet back in the middle and really discuss what we think is a good mixture of both.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see it. You can see it in like guys like Andrew Tate and I can't remember what the names of the people were on the Manosphere now.
HR Tiki Toki or something?
Yeah, Tiki Toki and what was his name? Anyway, it's
the name's there. I can quickly research it. Keep talking.
You can see like the parallels there. Like they're disciplined. They're healthy. They take care of themselves. They go to the gym. They do their daily habits really well. And we talk about that. We talk about that a lot. We believe that is a strong, taking care of yourself, leading yourself is a strong part of being a man. But they lead themselves so that they can be viewed as an alpha male, and they can exert sort of control over their relationships and the people around them, and have that image and that aura, and drive the nice cars and throw around the money so that they can display that kind of image. And it's just celebration of the self. And I think our next episode is going to be about dying to self, which carries on from this really well. It's absolutely just celebration of the self, whereas we've talked about leading yourself is so that you can lead others and you can be an example to others. So that they can lead, so you can lead them into like a better way. You can give other people a good example, and it's about serving others. It's about being of service to other people. And I think that's where, you know, there's this line where it's like, oh yes, it's kind of the same. And you can see that those are like basic instincts for a man. Like everyone wants to be that fit, healthy, disciplined guy. And they see this in those people, and then that causes them to accept the next thing that they say, and the next thing that they say, and the next thing that they say, until all of a sudden it's like, oh, I've convinced myself that this is a really good like ideology or way of thinking.
Yeah, what I do like, you know, to touch on what you're saying, is what I do like about I guess some of their point of view. So the guys are Harris Sullivan, Sneeko, Myron Gaines, Justin Waller, and Ed Matthews are the main guys in the doco. But they all have it's weird, because some of like a lot of their views around being a strong man are somewhat correct, but they're just like they're off kilter a bit. You know, they like you're saying, the need, the exercising, the looking after yourself, I guess chasing some sort of success, but all of it is self-gratification, of course. And I think we're going to touch on that a bit later around, you know, the difference between the biblical masculinity and this need to for the self-gratification. But one thing I noticed about the documentary is, and I don't know if this is a major part to these guys, the way these guys operate, but it was very misogynist. So everything was the woman's fault.
Yeah.
Rather than focusing on like what has the system done, or what is society, what are the societal views on what masculinity should be, and how that's shifted in culture recently, and this rebuttal to it. Instead of like focusing on those factors, it's more just focused on like the way that they treat women. I think that's completely wrong. Like, yeah, you don't need to. I mean, one guy, actually all of them talk about having multiple wives or sleeping around with multiple women.
One-way polygamy, I think.
Yeah,
he's allowed to have multiple partners, but his girlfriend, his girlfriend's only partner.
Yeah, and it's kind of like treating women like objects.
Yeah,
you know, not people of value, and not God's creation. But there's one thing that really disgusted. I don't know which guy it was. He was like that Indian looking or brown fella.
Myron, yeah.
Is it Myron?
I think it was Myron, yeah.
Yeah, when he was saying, he goes, I like, women don't even know what they want, but I know what women want.
Yeah.
So, bro, no, you don't. You just saying this, you just saying that line right there shows that you don't know what women want.
Yes.
No, when he said that, I was like, oh my God, this guy.
I also love it when, like, in both instances, I think with Harrison and Myron, he, like, they were, like, really protective of, like, he didn't want them to meet his girlfriend. Actually, I don't think it was Harrison. I think it was, like, the later guy, the sort of more...
Yeah, the steel manufacturer?
Yeah, the steel guy, yeah.
I think his name.
They were like, I don't want you to meet him. But when they finally opened up and let him meet them, it was just like, so you're cool? Like, all he did was answer like most obvious questions. So you're cool with him sleeping with heaps of women?
Yeah.
Like, are you actually cool with that? And they were like, oh yeah, kinda. Whereas like when it was him by himself, it's like, oh, so do you think your girlfriend's cool with you? Like to him, he was like, yeah, absolutely. You know, she understands.
Living a lie.
Yeah, and yeah, he just hit it straight because no one in the world would be cool with that.
Yeah, yeah. And it's really it's just a money grabbing scheme, right? For most of them, except for the guy that owned the steel manufacturing. Like I think he built his wealth and then utilized social media to create more wealth. Whereas a lot of these other guys are selling courses, they're selling like communities and stuff like that to really hook in these young guys, and I guess I'd say like manipulate them into like joining their crypto course or whatever. Yeah, and selling courses without any real financial backing to it. Yeah, and the way that they're making money, it's like a pyramid scheme basically, where the money is made on how many subscriptions you get, basically, or like how many people buy into your program. Yeah, exactly. And that's where the money is made. There's no like further transaction from there. Whereas like, traditional business, it's all based on like revenue and how much money, like how much revenue is being created in that business based on the sales of products and or transaction of services. Yeah. But you can see why it would appeal to young men. Yeah. Particularly the ones that are lost. And I think what I find scary having boys is my boys are starting to get to that age, like 13, 12, where I think they got access to a phone. And if I'm not careful, so this lays on me really as parents. If we're not careful in monitoring what our kids are looking at, then they could get trapped in this type of thought process and ideology. And, their friends are probably looking at it thinking it's cool because these guys have the woman, they have the fast cars, they have the money, they have the looks, they have and a lot of what they say sounds great on the surface. But it's when you start to delve deeper. So maybe it's a combination of kids that are a bit lost in broken homes. A couple of those guys said that they had they didn't have really father figures in their life. Yeah. And I feel like that's where a dangerous place. If you've got kids that don't have a solid like masculine figure in their lives, doesn't even have to be the father. It can be just someone in their life to show them the right direction. Yeah. This is where they can get trapped.
Yeah, I think that's where like I saw a lot of my friends growing up, and myself possibly could have gone down the same road with not having a strong like male role model in our lives, and it really is an issue. We need more male role models to be stepping up and being that for the younger people around them, and being that strong example of like you can be strong without being aggressive, or you can be rich, like you can have a good image without it serving yourself, and your priority should be serving other people. It shouldn't be about the self. It shouldn't be about the worship of the self. And we need that in our young men today. But yeah, it does appeal because it speaks to that deep down inner wanting to be in control, to be a leader, to be the top dog, and every guy, I think, deep down wants to get there. And I think for us as men, the first place we go to is the fact that we're genetically, we got a lot more muscle mass than women. And some of us, like when I was growing up, I was, I shot up a lot faster than a lot of my friends. And luckily I wasn't an overly violent or aggressive person, but there were times where I was like, man, if I wanted to, I could just kill that guy. When someone was really annoying me or just making me angry, I just thought, man, I'm so much bigger than him. I could, that was my first impulse. You know what I mean? I think that gets to a lot of men, and when they get into these relationships with women who are just naturally smaller than them, the easiest route to go in is physical aggression.
Yep. Well, I think that physical aggression towards whether it's men or in an abusive relationship with a woman, I think that comes from lack of control of self.
Yeah.
And then because you don't control yourself and your own thoughts, you then also want to be able to control other people, especially in a DV relationship. It's all about control.
Yeah.
Whether it's physical or emotional or sexual, it's all about being able to control the other person. And you're right. Us as men, we are built different, and we are, naturally built for hunting. Really, when you look at it, we're built to go to war, built to battle. But one thing I found interesting, which I always thought that the reason why men can be more aggressive was because of higher levels of testosterone. But I learned today, and I can't reference where I learned it because I can't quite remember the study, but I'll say I heard today from a psychologist that that's actually a false narrative. It's not, it has very little to do with their levels of testosterone. It has more to do with the upbringing and conditions that person was brought up in and the level of emotional intelligence they have. So whether they can control their own emotions or not, the testosterone helps with being more alert, being able to fight, or not even fight, but being able to be more reactive.
Yeah.
But the way that that's expressed in terms of anger and violence, that actually comes from the upbringing of the person and how they, I guess, their environment that they grew up in. And you see that in dogs too. If you have I've had a pit bull before, most gentlest creature ever. And you think pit bull's big, scary, vicious, but the environment that we gave him, he came to us vicious, but the environment we gave him and we raised him in was loving, caring, nurturing, reassuring. So he felt safe, and therefore, he was the guardian of all my kids. Yeah, we could leave him alone with that. So that was just a little bit of a side tangent. I don't know where I was going with that, but it just popped up into my head. I thought it was relevant.
We love tangents. Yes. Yeah, I think what men really have to realize is that their self-worth is in Christ. It's in who they are in Christ and the identity that they have in Christ and in God. And your identity shouldn't be reduced down to your social status, how much money you have, how much control you have over other people. It should be who you are in God. And until you find that and make that decision, and seek that on a daily basis and seek to understand how God sees you, first of all, that's a lifelong journey. And second of all, that's where you're really going to find your heart to serve other people. You're going to, take off your own mind and put on the mind of Christ, which is sacrificial love and serving of others in humility.
Yeah, there's nothing more masculine than dying to yourself and serving the Creator, serving God, and serving others. There's in my opinion, that's harder to do than anything else. I think.
Mm.
Where have you seen messages that sound helpful on the surface but lead men in the wrong direction? Have you seen any examples of that where like something looks like it would be helpful for men, but when you delve a little bit deeper outside of what we're talking about with the Manosphere, is there anything else that you've sort of seen that could be?
Yeah, I can't quite put my finger on it now, but I think I have something on the tip of my tongue. Something to do with being. It was actually what you touched on before about being overly feminine and sensitive and things like that. There is that sense that, oh yeah, that's what I need to do, and that can look appealing and being. People talk about being vulnerable, but there's a sense where that goes, to the extreme.
Like being an ally.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that is also a danger. I think being sensitive and being vulnerable is good to a certain extent, but to be overly passive and feminine when you're a male is not really a good thing.
No, I guess maybe it also depends on the person, the context. But when I don't know, it's like whole LGBTQ like movement was happening. They had like certain like guys on the fringes that would call themselves allies, and they would anything that was to do with that movement they were for, and then everything else was just fascist or whatever.
Yeah.
I look at that and then you sort of wonder like, what's the aim here? Like, what is your angle and what are you doing? Because we're not naturally. Okay, I know. I guess we're not naturally. Well, I'm not naturally geared like that, but maybe it's my cynicism. But I always think like, if you're running with any type of extremist view on either side, what are you wanting to get out of it? Like you spoke about some of these some men like being overly feminine, and unless you're homosexual, like what are you trying to get out of it? Is this your way to try and get closer to women so that you can date more women?
Yes, probably.
That's kind of what I'm thinking, you know? And that's sort of what I was thinking with this whole like this feminist movement. Where men on the fringes were super involved. They all seemed like quite dorky type men, like the ones that were sort of outed by women, but all of a sudden became really friendly. And I think like, what's your angle? Are you a part of this movement so that you can get closer to women, and that's your in?
Get in.
Get in, yeah.
Man, that's crazy. Yeah. I mean, research for this, I looked into like the Me Too. Have you heard about the Me Too movement and all that? Yeah. I looked into that and just the publicity of it, and it's sort of like you talk about the court of public opinion, and people's part of going public without following like due process with things like that is people's lives can be altered and really ruined. Even if, like they go to court and they've been accused of something and it's gone public because of, some kind of movement, and they go to court and most people have made up their minds before the verdict even comes in. And and I think that kind of thing does create fear in people as well, to the extent that they are like, oh, I don't want to get caught up in that. I've got to act this certain way just out of fear. And I think that's bad as well. I don't think anyone should be doing anything out of fear. Fear is like a really bad motivator.
Absolutely. I think, I don't know, that Me Too movement came out of Hollywood, and Hollywood's just sick.
Yes.
Like, it's full of sickos, man. I don't know why you would. I understand chasing the fame, and I understand, like, wanting to, like, I guess, have power, which, a lot of these guys that committed these horrendous acts towards young women that are often underage. You even look at, like, Epstein and all that.
Yeah.
Man, how sick! Like, it's just such a sick world that we live in, where some of these shows and these artists that we're watching, and even look at like the Diddy files and stuff like that. Like, I used to love like Diddy and Biggie back in the day, you know.
Yeah.
Now looking back, I'm like, oh, gross. Now I can't even listen to any of it. I'm like, this guy's sick, man. But then you start to dig a little deeper into it, and you're like, man, this entire industry is flawed.
I can't even buy baby oil anymore, bro.
Well, did you already buy too many?
Yeah, I had a big stack.
But like, that's all, you know, that when you look at Hollywood as a whole, and even like the upper echelons of that American society, a lot of them is just like power hungry, chasing power, like over purpose, right?
Yeah.
That's, you know, good segue into the next one. Like, we're going to talk about what happens when masculinity is built on power instead of purpose. So redefining masculinity as control over others, emotional detachment, self-serving success, and biblical contrast. So you want to touch on a bit of the, you touched on it before, about how, you know, those guys that like this Manosphere movement, the toxic side of it was more built around self rather than like leaning on God. What's the contrast to that? What would be the opposite of that from a biblical lens?
From a biblical lens, we heard that to lead is to serve. To lead is all about other people, and you don't gain power, or you don't gain like high status by, I guess, a lack of character, a over exertion of aggression and control over other people. It's really in serving other people and lifting up other people. I mean, you know, you're a leader in some areas in like lots of areas of your life, and so am I. And really, you can't lead out of a place of fear, or you can't lead people properly if those people are afraid of you in any way. And that goes into like, you know, not just aggression and afraid that, you know, you're going to like punch someone or hurt someone.
Yeah.
It's like in organizations, you have these like micromanagers and things like that, where people are walking on eggshells around them because they feel like, oh, if I put one foot wrong, I'm going to get an email, I'm going to get reprimanded in some way. And then I just don't want to deal with that stress.
Yeah.
Whereas true leaders are inspirational. True leaders gain following because people see them and people know that they're on your side. And I've worked for both, but in like a Christian and a non-Christian context, where I've worked for great leaders that I'm just like, I know that leader, even though he's my boss and he could fire me and he could reprimand me, and has in a very loving way, but I also know that they're on my side. I also know that they want the best for me, and they want me to be the best that I can be for my sake, because they know that's what lifts the organization up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've got like two examples. One of what I see a really good biblical leader is, and like I'll probably even just look at Pastor Kim and how he's built this church and how he's always building other leaders. The reason why he's so good at leadership in his pastoral role is because he's not just there dictating what everyone should do. It's like, let me try and help you figure out what your calling is, what your talent is. Like, if you're looking at it from outside of a biblical point of view, it's like, let me see what you're good at and how can I help you elevate that, but also work on your weaknesses as well, to elevate you to my level so that you become a leader as well. And I think that's what true leadership is, and that is also, you know, being like serving in leadership, because you're willing to be that person that brings others up, and people are going to follow you because you're someone worth following, not because you have a title.
Yeah, exactly.
I think a really contrasted point would be like someone like Donald Trump. He's got a massive title. He has some good like I can't like name a lot of good political like things that he's done in his career, but there is a lot of things that he's done that have just been like crazy.
Yeah.
And you're thinking like, what's this guy on? But he has this style of leadership where, like, if you don't follow him, you're just going to be told to get or whatever. And his leadership style is more authoritative. Like, was it authoritarian? Is that a word?
Yeah, authoritative or
authoritative.
Yeah.
Where it's you just got to do what he says. Even though he was elected through democratic election, supposedly by the people, he also seems to be someone that just does things the way he wants to do it, rather than trying to help build others up. I don't know if that's a terrible example now that I think about it, but
no, that's a good example.
Yeah.
Made me think of Kim Jong-un as well.
Kim,
Yeah.
like an actual
That's the,
dictator.
like proper like extreme.
Actually, yeah, that's probably a better
leading
one.
through fear and intimidation.
Yeah, right. I didn't even think about that. That's actually a really good one.
Yeah, I mean that's.
Well, yeah, he's starves his country as far as we know, because they're pretty blocked off from the rest of the world. But yeah, absolutely.
And then there's stories about him like, well, this doesn't go too far into the internet, but stories about like someone speaking ill of him or going against his regime or whatever, and he just like orders not only their death but their whole families just boom like done.
And that would be that would fall under like leadership that's just given, not earned, right? Because it was generational leadership.
Yeah, it was generational.
Like passed down from grandfather to his father to him, and then now potentially to his daughter.
Yeah,
I heard. So like, you know, that position of power is like, it's not even serving anybody but themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well, I never thought I'd be comparing Pastor Kim to like world
Kim
leaders.
Jong-un. Yeah.
Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, they got the same first name. Kim.
Kim Jong Anthony.
That's harsh. Yeah, no.
You said it.
Bro. Okay, fair enough. Let's move on. Yeah, no, Kim is Pastor Kim. He is a great leader. And yeah, you're exactly right. His driving force is to build others up. And that also involves like self-control, but it also involves a lot of trust, which trust is like a release of control pretty much.
Yeah.
It's the opposite of having control, because he puts leaders in a spot and he's like, I trust you. And a lot of that involves what we both know is very healthy mindset, is the ability to accept mistakes and accept that you might have got it wrong. Not that he might have got it wrong in the leader, but that leader might get it wrong, and it's okay to accept that.
Yeah.
It's okay that they get it wrong or that they stuff up. That's a learning process for them. But he just has a lot of, a lot of courage to put trust in people, in aspects of the church. Like he's got this weekend, myself, Nathan, and Ruby are doing preaching medley. So we're preaching for 10 minutes each on Sunday. And
will I see you at 5?
Hey?
Will I see you at 5?
On the video
screen. Come on.
Bro, sorry.
It's all right.
Kim didn't ask us to do the 5. I would have been down to come to the 5 and do it.
Oh, you can just come to the 5 and
he
do it.
didn't. He didn't ask us, bro. So you just he said we'll video it.
Oh, I'm not going to church now.
No, come to the 10, bro.
Done.
Bro, you said where it's at. So you won't even come for the free feed afterwards?
Is there a free feed?
For the 5, yeah.
No. It's not free, bro. It's $5.
Yeah, bro, basically free in this day and age. Yeah, that's like $5 will go to get you 2 kilometers down the road these days, bro. Yeah. What was I just saying?
I don't know. It was good though.
Mm.
It was good.
Oh yeah, the trust.
Yeah, trust. Yeah.
You know, you had a lot of trust, which is not control; it's giving of control, which I think is super important. And he's trusted me with things. I've gone up and did, you know, my best with certain aspects in the church, and at times I was like, oh man, I could have done a lot better than that. And he doesn't even mention it. He's like, that was great. That was good on you.
Yeah.
You know, he's always just been very, very encouraging person as well, which I think is another important aspect of leading.
Yeah, I think.
But he's. Oh, sorry.
No, you go.
But I've also seen him put like in. Not really in a church aspect, but in just general, like I've seen him like have hard conversations.
Yeah.
Like he's like super encouraging. He's always encouraged me, like always been really positive with me. I don't think I've ever had to have like a really tough conversation with him, but I've seen him and I know that he's not afraid of having tough conversations. So it's not like he's positive in like a really positive because he's passive or he's afraid of saying negative things. He does have that self-control where he's able to exercise it where he needs to.
Yeah, it's good. I've had a conversation with him that was very upfront. Like I think, as you know, I'm pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
So if I want to have the conversation, I'll have the damn conversation. And yeah, we had it, and it was good because it was like two grown men able to have a discussion. Not that we disagreed on something, but that there was a bit of like a slight misunderstanding there, and the way that things were sort of said or whatever. But it was a positive outcome because we were both willing to actually have the conversation rather than someone else who will like talk behind your back because they don't trust in what you're doing or your vision or whatever. And that's just like that's a massive lack of character. Which is what I've seen in like these guys on the documentary, these red pill guys. Yeah, they're in positions of leadership, but they have major character flaws. Like I mean, everyone has character flaws, but they have major ones where you know they're trying to lead, yet they don't have really any moral compass, right? I think one of the guys that HS Tiki was talking about how he thought that OnlyFans star. I don't even know what she apparently slept with like 1,000 guys in one day or whatever. But just how how disgusting she was, and she was like he was pretty like running her down for her choices and saying like her family like absolutely doesn't agree with her even though she said like otherwise. Yeah. And then he turned around to Louis Theroux, and Louis Theroux was like, oh, why are you saying this to her when you're actually selling
exactly the same?
You're selling OnlyFans.
You're selling OnlyFans
content. And you're getting a cashback for it. So it's got these really powerful views and wants to be controversial, yet he's feeding that exact thing that this I can't remember what this woman's name is, but you know how she's making her money. So he's getting a cut from all that stuff that what she says is like disgusting. So where's the moral compass in that? Where's that like that leadership character that we want to see out of people that are actually positive? So, you know, that's probably the danger is like anybody can be in a position of leadership, really, when you think about it, but it's you've got to really before you follow them, you've got to see their character first. Yeah,
absolutely. I remember like when I first discovered people like Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson, who I wouldn't group Jordan Peterson and Andrew Tate on the same level. I think Jordan Peterson's quite good, but he has some pretty strong views about masculinity and things like that. And then I was like, oh, this really resonates with me and this is really good. And then I saw some of the stuff that Andrew Tate was saying and I'm like, oh, that's kind of like the same. I was like, oh, cool. So I started listening more, and I'm like, hang on, what's he saying about women? Like, what's he saying about this and about that? And it can be very deceptive because you think, oh, that's pretty good. That resonates with me. Some things do, but there are some things that are just non-negotiable, aren't they?
Yeah, and imagine that for like even someone between the ages of 13 and 25, that hasn't had the life experience or hasn't got the same values that are rooted in Christ and are lost. Like the stuff that Agitate's saying would be like, on the surface level, like, I actually agree with that. And then you get hooked. Like, that's the hook. And then you're like, go to his more extremist views. And then you start to think, well, if I agree with him on this, then maybe I agree with him on all these other things. Where I think as we're older, we know how to discern what information for us is good and what information is for us is bad. Yeah, I think like a male's brain doesn't fully form until 25, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's about 42, bro. I don't know. I don't feel like my brain's fully formed yet.
I don't but your ability to
separate emotion from decision making. Yeah.
You're that old, bro.
I'm not 42 yet, bro. I'm turning 40 this year.
I was gonna say I thought you weren't even 40 yet.
No,
but I feel you though.
I was just trying to make a joke about me not having fully developed
prefrontal
lobe.
Unfortunately, it was completely true.
All right.
So what does real biblical masculinity actually look like?
Well, I think we've got to look to Jesus first and foremost. Lead through sacrifice. I've been reading through the New Testament and reading through Corinthians, and there's quite controversial verse that's said, the kind of wording, it's said a couple of times in the New Testament actually. It's like something about wives, obey your husbands, or something like that. Women, listen to your husbands, or something like that. And it's always followed up with husbands, love your wives. And it's controversial because it's like people are saying that that's creating like a hierarchy. But I love the way that Pastor Kim says it is like, if man are the head of the household, to lead is to serve. And that's sort of redefined my own thoughts about who I am as a husband and a father as well, and the actions I take. You don't have to be like loud and shouting and things like that, but to lead is to serve. And there's also following up, I think that scripture in Corinthians, that's the only thing that it even says about women. The rest is instructions for how a husband should act towards his wife and family. I read
that,
And the rest of the chapter is just about instructions to the husband. And it's something that like you love your wife as your own body, or your wife and you are one. I think I might be misquoting it, but like the idea is that you're one and you love her as you love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you treat her as you would treat your own body.
Yeah.
And that has, that's redefined my mindset somewhat as well, because, what you do to your wife, you're essentially doing to yourself. If you disrespect her, you're disrespecting yourself. If you treat her unkindly, you're being unkind to yourself. I think the more and more we can lift others up and just put others first, and just think, how could I treat them?
Yeah.
Or how could I treat others in the way that I would treat myself?
I think I've heard that. Well, one thing I'll come back to that thought, but one thing I've always, not always, but I think over the last maybe 6 years, I've really started to think about is, to be God first, you, then your wife, your relationship. That's like how you create a healthy relationship, is because you're able to focus on yourself in a positive way where you're trying to better yourself. And what I've heard, I don't know if it's from the Bible, it might be, or I've heard it in a biblical podcast where they talk about it's a man's job to earn a woman's respect, and the woman earns a man's love.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a verse in the Bible about that, isn't it? Maybe, or maybe I'm wrong.
Remember.
Can't remember. But anyway, I think it's wrong. That's right. Because as men, like, we want to be respected, like, not just by people out in the world or whatever, but most importantly, want to be respected by the people that love us the most.
Yeah.
That we love the most. And women want to be loved. Like, that's their nature. They want to be loved. They want to be taken care of.
Yeah. So
if you can figure out that dynamic, and I think that's probably why in that Corinthians that there's a lot more verses about how a man should look after his family and treat his wife, because that is you earning the respect of your wife by going out and, providing or setting the culture in your family, and taking care of your kids, being that positive role model in the household.
Yeah.
You've got to earn that respect daily. And when your wife respects you, it's easy for you to then love your wife, because there's that cycle there. But one thing I did think about when it came to this section about like biblical masculinity, I've heard of like the 5 pillars. Have you heard of the 5 pillars of biblical masculinity?
No.
Okay, so the first one
is this from a book?
Yeah, it's from a book I've read a while ago. Yeah, I can't remember what the book's called. It's obviously a Christian book, but
yeah.
The number one is identity in Christ. A man's foundation isn't his job, status, or strength. It's who he is in God.
Check.
Rooted in relationships with God, led by faith, not ego. A good example is Genesis 1, verse 27. Made in God's image. If this pillar is off, everything else becomes performance instead of purpose.
Yeah. Is that all number one?
That's all number one.
That's all number one. Okay, check.
Number 2, responsibility and leadership. Biblical masculinity takes ownership, not domination, but servant leadership. Leads with humility and integrity, takes responsibility for actions, family, and influence. And a good example of that is leadership here looks more like sacrifice than control. So like how we're saying, to serve, right?
Yeah.
Strength and courage is number 3.
Check.
Not just physical strength, moral and spiritual strength, standing firm in truth, courage to do what's right under pressure, which, to be a good leader, you have to be able to do the right thing when all the, who you are shows up, right? Like when everything's against you, you got to be able to make the right decisions.
Yes.
Love and sacrifice. This is where biblical masculinity separates itself from cultural distortion. Loves sacrificially, not selfishly. So a lot of the issues with the Manosphere, and that is like they have a lot of love for self and things that they can accomplish, and the accolades that they get from other people, and the status and the views and the likes, rather than being like sacrificial, like we've spoken about. And integrity and self-control, which is exactly what we've spoken about as well. A man who can lead others must first lead himself. Discipline in thoughts, action, and desires. Lives consistently same person on public and private, like whether you're in a public or private setting like we are here. Like, I'm the same person here in the studio when we're doing our podcast, and I'm the same person out there. So those are the 5, and I believe I read about the 5 pillars in a book, and then I actually also seen it in a podcast today. Who was it? The guy that did I can't remember his name, but he did that Be a Man conference. He's got like big arms. I think I've showed you before. He's got a grey beard. No, he's got big arms. You walk straight into that one, but no. I can't remember his name. It's gonna suck. But yeah, there's this conference on YouTube, It's called Be a Man. Be like a man or something. But I'll look it up. I might link it into the chat or something. But yeah, those are the 5 pillars that I'd heard about before, and I think they all resonate, right? They're all on point to what we've been talking about.
Yeah. Absolutely. Do you know men, well, we've spoken about Pastor Kim. Do you know any other man? Have you seen this, live this out well? And what stands out to you about how he leads?
I think one of my business mentors, like this guy PJ, he's young. He's younger than me, but very disciplined person. He's always serving others, always showing up to serve others, but also willing to have the hard conversations, willing to be like that beacon of light for people who need it, but he like leads with action. So more of the type of guy that will not tell you what to do, but show you through his actions that he's doing it.
Yeah.
So there's probably one example that I have. He's also like, so I think he's kind of grown in his faith to the point where he's probably at a point where he's maybe thinking about getting baptized or whatever. So
Yeah.
he's come from agnostic to now a believer in Christ. And you can see like when someone believes, I feel like when someone believes in Christ, like they just level up. You know, like a lot of really wealthy entrepreneurs, they all have a belief, they all have some sort of faith, or they're all Christian or whatever. And that's important, because you need to realize that it's not all on you.
Yeah.
Success isn't all on you. Like there's an aspect of faith that you've got to have in order for the things that you vision for your life to come forth. And yeah, I think for me, becoming a Christian and really having a relationship with God has solidified the fact that I am moving in the right direction. And yeah, I think we spoke today that life for me right now is really like, I'm really zapped of energy, and I'm struggling to find that happy place where I'm operating at a good level where I can get everything done, but I still have the faith that God will make it happen as long as I keep showing up, because that's the aspect of faith you need in any journey, whether it's like business or raising a family, wanting to see like your kids succeed in whatever they want to succeed at.
Yeah.
There has to be a level of faith, and I think I see that in my mate PJ. I see that in a couple other people. I see that in you. Like I'd say that you're a leader that I would look at, that I feel like is a good representation of what a biblical man should be and how a biblical man should lead. Just in the way that you carry yourself in men's group, on the podcast. I've said to you, like I've seen a growth in you when it comes to having those smaller conversations with people.
Yeah.
And like I feel I can see that people resonate with you a lot more, as opposed to before, where maybe they might have seen you on stage and seen a certain side of you, but you're now a lot more approachable, I think. And so I'd say that you'd be a good example as well of a leader that of a good example of a leader.
Thank you. I was struggling to think of one, but I was gonna mention Mark Fox.
Yep.
He's really come along, shown a lot of growth.
Yeah.
The last couple of years, and one of the things is that I not only see it in him, but everyone else around me mentions it and says it to me, and some of the guys are just like, you know, Mark's really taking care of me, or I loved Mark, or he's been really good. And these are guys that I just for whatever reason Hadn't met them. Maybe they were coming mostly to the 8 a.m. service or even the 5 p.m. And I just met them through men's group. But I've really been connecting with Mark and just seeing him lead and being, serving others and really. But he's quite a quiet guy, fairly humble, not dominant, and just sort of flies under the radar a bit, I would say, in a good way.
Yeah. Leadership doesn't have to be loud though, right?
No.
Like I aspire to be someone who's less loud. I feel like, when we're just in smaller settings, I don't know. I have a dominant personality, and it's something I'm working on.
But I still think that you carry a like a sort of dormant kind of wisdom, I would say, in that the way you carry yourself and the way you approach conversations and things like that, you're careful. I would say, like you even say this about yourself, you're careful not to dominate the conversation, be the only one speaking, and give other people, a chance to speak. But at the same time, just the way you're sitting there, I know, I can tell you're thinking about this and you've got a lot to say about this, but I can see also that you're giving other people the space, or even like mentioning them by name, like, and calling them into the conversation. And that's a really good, charismatic trait to have as well.
That's right. Yeah, I do try, and I feel like you learn more from people when you shut your mouth.
Yeah, 100%. Well, sometimes I'm just like, I got nothing to say, Les, save me. And you're just like waiting, like, I've got to let other people speak. No, bro, speak now.
It's like at men's group the other night. I was like, oh man, I've got so much to say to this guy, Adam. I want to talk to you, bro. Like, shut up, everybody. Like, I want to talk to this guy. And we'll hopefully get him on one day, but he's
solid,
got a crazy story about, his journey in AA and all that.
Yeah.
Which I think will be inspirational.
100%.
So we're up to segment 4, yeah?
Yes.
Rebuilding the standards, what men should pursue. If we reject toxic models, what should we build instead?
Practical things that we talk about on this podcast is leading a body, having discipline, showing up day after day after day. This is pretty much our whole second episode, was leading your body, leading your mind, truth, humility, constantly going to the word, constantly writing or thinking about gratitude, even, or expressing gratitude, constantly praying, constantly trying to hear from God, not conforming to the patterns of the world. Lead your relationships but with service, but also stepping up and taking responsibility as a man should. Daily reps of biblical masculinity, choosing humility in conflict, serving your family without recognition. That's a big one for me, I think. Serving your family, and sometimes Katie and I have like little tiffs and arguments, and it gets like it becomes very petty to the point of like, I've been doing this, I've been doing that, and I'm like, well, I've been doing this and I've been doing that, so what? Like, what is the competition of who's done the most kind of thing? I don't know if you resonate with that, but yeah, it can be it can get down to that if, for whatever reason, if one of us doesn't feel like the other one is really like showing up for the relationship or whatever. But yeah, I've tried to sort of focus on that. It's like, serve my family, do this, do that. Who cares if they recognize it or not?
Yeah.
Who cares if they say good, like give me a pat on the back and say good job, and that feels good. But at the end of the day, that's not the reason why you're doing it. You're doing it to to be of service and to lift them up and to make sure that they're comfortable and that you are providing for them and that they can come to you and that they can lean on you and see you as that safe person and that person of strength that they can go to and that they can lean on. And that only happens through serving and not doing it for you. Serving to be recognized is just serving for yourself. Basically, it's just selfish.
I can't really relate. I mean, Dee probably relates with Katie on that one, but I don't know if I can because I feel like she does so much, and whenever she does something, I'm like, yeah.
Be honest, it's usually Katie. Katie said, "Look, what have you done? I've done this.
Yeah.
But sometimes I can be like, well, I've done this. But it's usually like one thing.
I feel guilty whenever Dee's like, oh, thanks, babe, for like mopping the floor or cooking dinner or doing dishes or whatever. I'm like, bro, we're a partnership. We're 100. Like, we fill in each other's gaps. If I can't do it today, you'll do it.
Yeah.
If you can't do it today, I'll do it. So like, I'm always, and maybe I should praise her more. That's probably the problem too, is I should probably praise her more. But yeah, I just have this like guilty feeling when, or not, like, it's just awkward. I feel awkward when she's like, oh, thanks for doing this, or thanks for putting a load of washing on. And I'm like, that's kind of my job too. I live here as well. And I think that's one thing that my dad did say a while back when I was having these complaints with my previous relationship about like, oh, I have to come home and I have to do this after work. I have to do this and that. And he's like, bro, don't you live there too? I'm like, oh yeah, I do. That's kind of my responsibility as well.
Yeah.
Forgetting that the other person's probably been looking after the baby or looking after the kids, stressed and whatever.
Yeah, I think that's good what you said about partnership. Because I think there's a danger to divide it. I mean, maybe to divide everything up into this is her role and these are her jobs and these are my jobs and this is what I do and this is what she does. And sometimes it's good to structure things that way and say, okay, I always do this. I always do the washing up. I always take out the bins. I always, whatever, like mow the lawn or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And she always cooks and she always wipes, like tidies up, puts the clothes away, does the washing or whatever. And sometimes I'm like, I do all my, like this is mostly in the past, not lately. But I've done all my jobs. I've just like, taken out the bins. I've just done the washing up. I've just done this and that. And then she's like, oh, can you put a load of washing on? I'm like, what? That is your job. I've done all my jobs. You need to do your job. I like let my mind kind of go there. Yeah, he's just like, come on. Like, yeah. I used to sort of let my mind go there and just be like, oh. Or like sometimes I would be like, I've done something, and then I just go sit down. That I swear, as soon as the moment like my backside hits that cushion, she's like, Al, can you go and like like whatever she asked me to do. So I'm like, oh, come on, Katie, I literally just sat down, that type of thing. But now it's like whenever she asks me to go do something, I just try to, and I'm just like, yep, sure. Like especially now because she's like, she's come back from surgery and that. Yeah. But generally, I'm just like, yes, sure, I will do that, and I will not complain about it. If she ever asks me to do something, but I don't know where I was going with this. Oh yeah, gratitude. That's where I was going. I've been keeping this gratitude journal. I've been going strong for, I've done it every day for the whole month.
Nice.
Just one line of gratitude a day. And I swear, like, I've tried to write different things every day just to be like on a, just have the variety. And like when I look back on it, I can see like all the different things that I'm grateful for. But the last like 5 or 6 like week or so, as soon as I look at it, I'm just like, I'm just grateful for Katie.
Yeah.
I'm just grateful for Katie, like just about every day. But I've like gone like, oh yeah, I'll try to. I'll just think of something else because I wrote like the first time I said, oh, I'm really grateful for my wife, blah blah, and then the next day I was like, oh, It's still Katie today, but I'll think of something there's like, there's heaps to be thankful for. I'll think of something different, but like every day, the first thing that comes to mind is just like wife, kids. Really grateful. And I think that has helped me to be of service without wanting recognition. It's constantly reminding myself that just her being there and being in like in a relationship with me is awesome. Like I'm super thankful for that. And she does, like you said, Dee's the same. They do so much.
Yeah.
And they just do so much behind the scenes that we probably don't even know. As well. Like
100%.
And like how stupid is it for me to sit down and go, oh, come on. Like, when she like asked me to do, hey, can you just put on some washing? Like, how stupid is that? Like when I think about how I was, like, like particularly like, towards like after the sort of honeymoon phase wore off and we started living like a real marriage, and I used to get like that all the time, be like, oh, but that's your job. Like that was so stupid. I regret that.
I think the key is to understand each other's strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
And fill in the gap wherever needed. It's like my strength is definitely not numbers or organization.
Yeah.
So those two things I'm terrible at. But anything creative, I'm good. Like if it comes to cooking, like I love cooking, so I'll do that.
Yeah.
If it comes to anything to do with the kids, like I'm all over it. Whether it's training or doing the extra training or just hanging out with them or looking after them or whatever it is, that's pretty much my strength. If it's going out there and like providing in the best way I can, like that is my strength because I feel like it's what I'm called to do. So there's certain things that I know that I am strong at, and I'll lean into those as much as I can and take as much of the burden off of her in those areas that I can.
Yeah.
And then she'll do the same for me in the areas that I struggle with. Like organization for me is difficult. Like my brain just isn't wired to be like structured and organized like you are. Yeah, you're a bit more structured, you're a bit more organized. Whereas like if you can picture my brain, like you probably have like lists and compartmentalize your brain into sections.
Yeah.
Whereas my brain works like, if I think about it, it's like inside one of those old lotto machines where the balls are bouncing around.
Yeah.
And the number comes out.
Yeah.
So I'm grabbing that one. I'm like, oh, cool. Like kids rugby league, sweet. I got that one now. I'll go, oh, cool. Podcast, sweet. I got that. Oh, yep, sweet. Now I know I need to go and like mop the floor and do this or cook or whatever.
I can totally see that. I can totally see that, bro. Some of the messages he sent me, I'm like, oh, he's moving fast onto different ideas. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, oh, yeah, I can totally see that. That's
I get into this like creative flow state where it's like, I don't know what it is. I don't even know how to explain it.
It's good though. It's
things
good.
just come out of everywhere. So
I mean, you have that like I'm one way and you're like different, and it works well together. Yeah. So the message me is like, we should do this. We should do this. I'm like, yeah, we should.
Well, the thing is, if I don't tell you the idea, then it's like it'll probably be gone just as quick as it comes. But for future, we should just focus on this in our social media, and then whatever else comes out, just remind me, bro. We got to focus on this in our social media.
Yes, I will
focus on content. But no, I'm pretty good with like what direction I want. See, like I'm very visionary. I know where I want to go.
Yeah.
It's like, but the road might be like zigzag, hazardous, mountainous ranges of like chaos. But then D might be like, hey, it might be easier if we just go from here to there, stop here for a bit, and then we'll just take the straight line down that way, maybe hang a right. I'm like, nah, but it's way more fun to go like all the scenic routes possible and go down every dead end.
Yeah.
And then eventually wind up in the same place, but like years later. But I think one thing, we talk about with the side of masculinity that we see that a positive, like the need to provide for your family, the need to be the one that sets the culture in your home, the one that's the main father figure or the main like primary influence in your kids' lives. I talk about that a lot, and that's where we need to really focus on when it comes to social media and all this like red pill content and manosphere content. I think particularly for me with like my boys as they're getting older, girls have their own issues as well. But if you're the father of a soon-to-be man, it's really important to control what they're viewing and being on top of their like what they're allowed to access. Because I mean, we've got the power. We've got more power in our pocket with the mobile phone than there was like technology-wise to like launch to the moon. So they say, and with all that technology, there's like a certain amount of responsibility we need to take on as parents to monitor what our kids are doing. There's no different to you wouldn't just let most people wouldn't just let their kids go to like if they're 13 and under or whatever, go to the shopping center unsupervised or go to certain places and do certain things unsupervised. If you don't supervise them on the mobile phone or the tablet, you're essentially doing the same thing, but probably doing way more damage because they have way more access to so many different things. So you've got to make sure that you have a solid foundation with your kids around and have them have a good understanding around what is safe practice online.
Yeah.
But also, what are our core values as a family? Set the culture in your family. Like, we respect women. That's one of our values. We want to be providing. We want to be of service. We've got our kids serving in church. Like, one of our boys is now behind the sound desk in church. Savannah's serving in the kids group. She's also serving on the chorus. So like, we're teaching our kids to be of service and think about others before self. So it's really important as parents on both ends to monitor what our kids consume, just like we have to monitor what we consume, and also provide them with an environment that's conducive to growth and allow them to grow into the type of people that we would be proud of in society. Like, we're always proud of our kids, but you want to make sure that your legacy is left behind with them in the way that they interact with people in their future, whether it's their future spouses or people in their workplace or whatever. So we have to be very mindful and take ownership of that. We've got to take ownership of how we lead in our household, and not let this red pill crap like distract them.
Yeah, absolutely. What are some what's one daily habit that helps you? Actually, before I ask that question, what are some practical tips that you've got for your kids in like controlling what they consume on technology? Like, do you like no technology in bedroom, or when you're on your technology you have to be in a certain area, or is there like apps that you have that monitor and report like parental blocks or whatever? Like,
I think one of the first things is our kids aren't allowed a mobile phone until they're 13, and that's out of necessity because they travel to school by themselves. So we're giving them that sense of responsibility where it give them themselves to and from school. So, but we also want them to be safe, so we want to be able to keep tabs on them, so they have to have a mobile phone. But with that, they have to. They're never allowed to use their phone in their room unless I say you guys can use your phone to play music while you clean your room. But your doors have to be open, and I'm always upstairs in that area so that I'm aware of what's going on. That's one. They're allowed 2 hours on their phone throughout the week. So a bit of time in the morning and a bit of time in the afternoon, but everything that they need to get done, whether it's unpacking their bag, if it's cleaning their room or doing their chores for the day, like all of that has to be done, and then they can have time on their phone because I didn't like this at first, but then D made me realize that that is their access to their friends outside of school. Whereas for us, we'd just go to our mates' houses and hang out and ride our bikes or whatever. But she said in today's society, a lot of kids are connecting over like messenger or text message. So we monitor all the apps that they're on. They're not allowed any social media. They're not allowed any encrypted messaging apps. They're not allowed that. There's one that's come out not too long ago that can be useful if it's used well, and I think it's called. It's not WhatsApp. It's similar to WhatsApp, but it's like. I've seen the youth group use it in church, so it's not all that bad. But it's it creates little groups, kind of private groups,
Right.
and I think that's the part of it that I don't like, is because there's and anyone can access the group on that chat. So it's harder to monitor. I can't think of what it's called, but one of the major things too for us is we get to look at your phone any time of the day, every day if we want to.
Yeah.
We've got to be able to monitor. It's got to be open to us. You can't get annoyed because the problem is we can't actually monitor their phone remotely all that well, given their ages. I think there's probably apps we could download, but we sort of take more of a physical approach.
Yeah.
And it's also just the big one is helping them understand the dangers online, and just being like, well, if you end up talking to someone that you don't know on a on a gaming site or whatever, you have no idea how old they are.
Yeah.
They could be my age talking to you, pretending to be like 12 or 13.
Yeah.
And then sort of educate them around the worst case scenario that can go down.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many cases out there of kids being abused, whether it's online or being coerced into catching up with a predator online and being in person and then get taken advantage of. So that's probably the main things that we sort of instill in our kids.
That's really good. I like that. I'm yet to go through that stage as a parent where they're all about their phones and connecting. Do you think they need to be connected? One of my questions is, do you think they need to be constantly connected to their friends?
It's never a need. It's not a need at all. I think it's a want, and unfortunately with the way society is right now and the access that they have, it's kind of, you've got to give a little bit. I feel like, yeah, you still got to keep the reins tight on it, but
do they have like a time? Oh, you said they're 2 hours a week, hey?
2 hours a day, which might be too much. I'm not sure.
2 hours a day.
But that's included in their travel time and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a need, but I certainly think it helps with them staying social, especially over the weekends and that.
Yeah.
And being able to organise catch-ups and stuff like that.
Yeah. I suppose it's used as an organisation tool. That's good.
Yeah, it's not really used just to chat. It's and we monitor those conversations too. Because one of the biggest things that we've flagged is kids can be dicks and talk really badly about other kids online, and you can't, when we were bullied, you could just go home and that was it.
Yeah.
Like, unless you had a really bad home life.
Yeah.
But now it's, you go home and you're still getting bullied.
It follows you home, yeah.
Yeah.
Even stuff like that spills over from home to school as well, like the group chats and, simple as like, oh, now this person is they've been excluded from the group chat, and now they come to school the next day and it's like they're anxious about seeing these people and stuff like that. So it works both ways too.
Yeah, well, I look forward to hearing how you manage that with the mobile phones and all that when it's time.
Thank you.
Because everyone has a different way of doing it. No one can do it right.
Well, part of what I've tried to do now is always put away my phone and not be on it while I'm sort of playing with the girls. So it just sort of preempts that. Like, they see that you don't actually need to have a phone. And even like I get like annoyed at the gym when I see the young guys, and because I tend to train without music, and
Yeah,
people
same.
come into the gym and go, "Oh, let's put on some music," and I'll be like, "Sure, put on some music," but then like now they don't even want to put on music. They all just individually get their own headphones and put them in, and so they're all listening to different things when they're together. And I just remember like the Mind Pump guys mentioned this actually, and it made me think of it. The have you seen Pumping Iron with Arnold
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger and that? You know those old school gyms. There's no music. There's no headphones. They're all standing around and they're just chatting, and there's like all this talk, and the gym, it just sounds like it just has a different sort of vibe to it, and a sound where everyone's just socializing and people are spotting each other and joking around, just standing around the machines, like sort of like water cooler chats and
Well,
stuff like that. That that I really think that's trying to bring that back in some way would be really valuable.
well, you've seen me at the gym. I kind of just go up and talk to anybody and everybody.
Yeah.
And I don't even
Yeah.
like interrupt them, even if they got headphones on. I'll just chat to them just because I think it's important. That's what I always loved about the gym. And I know some people hate it. That's probably why they have headphones on.
Yeah.
But like, I'm going to force you to be social because I bet you're not very social anywhere else. But that's at a particular age. But when you get into a high performance gym like Arnold would have been a part of, like I remember when I was competing, it was more, it had more that vibe. Everyone would just listen to the same music. I mean, you'd have your hype up music when you're doing a big lift or whatever, but you'd always talk and chat with people, and there'd be that atmosphere in the smaller gyms. But these bigger gyms, the more commercial gyms, tend to be more just about like yourself and like I go to the O2 gym now, which is a massive, expensive gym from Dubai. Which I got it on a cheap deal, so it's not like I'm trying to be bougie. It was just cheaper than my current gym. But it's a very, very well-equipped gym.
Yeah.
And because it's a well-equipped gym, you get a lot of influencers coming in.
Yeah.
When I first went there, they actually told me that you weren't allowed any camera crews. I went there last Friday, and there was 3 separate camera crews with like people I have no recognition of them. They don't look super jacked. They don't look like they're competing in anything. Then I was like, I suppose that's like the social media world. That's them sort of creating their brand, which is exactly what the guys with the Red Pill content guys and the guys in the Manosphere documentary, they're literally just recording every aspect of their life, and they're their own reality TV show.
Yeah.
And then once you get enough views, you're then able to monetize it and then create your wealth off of that, which is great. I love that there's ways to make money that are different to what our parents grew up with and what we grew up with at a younger age. But there's a lot of misinformation that goes with that, I think, too. You know, there's just because you hear it online doesn't mean it's true. Even the things that we say, like I'd say fact check some of it, you know. We try and be genuine as possible. We're not 100%. So, yeah, I think all in all, what I see with the Manosphere, there's good aspects to it. There's also bad. You've just got to really discern what aligns with your values and keep your own character in check, and make sure that anything that you're consuming aligns with your beliefs and your character and aligns with your values, and make sure that you really have a close look at the people that you're following.
Yeah. Nice. I think that about wraps it up. And
Yeah,
good chat. Good chat.
it was good. It was good. I just want to say, like, speaking of the gratitude, one thing I'm grateful for is just the time that we live in, that we get to do things like this. We get to have these long form conversations, push them out to the public, see what happens. And the ability to maybe positively influence someone on the other side of the world potentially in this current day and age is amazing. I'm like super grateful to be able to have that at my fingertips.
Yeah. So good. Awesome.
If there's one thing you can take from this episode, the problem isn't that, oh man, if there's one thing you can take from this episode, the problem isn't that men are too strong, it's that strength has been misunderstood. Some turn it into dominance, others try to remove it altogether. But real strength isn't control or status. It's how you lead, how you take responsibility, how you serve the people around you. It's quiet, it's consistent, it's built in the daily reps. That's the standard. So the question isn't whether you'll be strong. It's what kind of strength you'll build and what that will mean for the people around you. This is your 1 Rep Max.